Well, today, President Trump declared it's time for houses of worship to reopen, demanding governors to allow churches, synagogues, and mosques to hold in-person services. He claimed he would overrule any governor that tried to push back, as the president declares places of worship to be essential services, and the CDC lays out new guidelines for religious gatherings. But health experts are apprehensive, as Brian Todd explains how easy the virus can spread at church.
New indications of the dangers of reopening churches during this pandemic. The Catoosa Baptist Tabernacle Church in Ringgold, Georgia, and the Holy Ghost Catholic Church in Houston have closed their doors for the second time. Several parishioners and leaders of those churches reportedly testing positive for coronavirus after they reopened in recent weeks. Officials investigating whether a priest at the Houston church who died recently died of COVID-19.
You bring a lot of people together. You put them in a small, enclosed quarters. You have a lot of, proximity, people touching, people saying peace, bringing people together in religious events where frequently there could be crying, there could be shouting, there could be singing. I think all of those may bring significant risk of infection.
A church in rural Arkansas, according to a new CDC report, was what some call a super spreader. Two people who went to events there in early March, initiating a chain reaction, which infected at least 30 parishioners and killed at least 3 of them. But experts are warning it's not just the formal services associated with churches which are dangerous, but also their ancillary events.
There was the case of a choir where one infected individual spread it to more than 50 just from choir practice. Birthdays and funerals and other events where people are hugging and touching would also be such types of events too.
The state of New York is testing religious communities in New York City for antibodies of coronavirus and is starting to allow religious gatherings again, but only with a maximum of 10 people at a time.
The last thing we want to do is have a religious ceremony that winds up having more people infected.
As thousands of churches reopen around the world, our ideas of a typical service are going out the window. This week, Pope Francis celebrated the first public mass in 2 months in St. Peter's Basilica, but only with a limited number of worshipers. Father Timothy Pelk in Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan, got creative on Easter Sunday, using a squirt gun to dispense holy water to parishioners driving by. Health experts are recommending changes like drive-in services in parking lots, virtual services, temporary suspensions of church daycare. But one expert says it shouldn't be doctors or public officials who mandate those changes.
I think it is not me as a physician who needs to tell them, the community. I think I work with the leaders of that community who then tell the congregation and the people that go to those churches and those synagogues and to those mosques what they need to do.
So is this the end of large religious gatherings like on Christmas Eve, Easter, the Jewish and Muslim holidays? The health experts we spoke to say it should be more of a pause, but it could be a long one. One expert says there could be recommendations coming that the next large religious gatherings we see should not be held until around Christmas of 2021. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.